Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Jacob Wile, too.
And welcome to our continued coverage of DuckTales Season 2 with the Ballad of Duke Baloney.
It's Duke Baloney!
Season 2, Episode 3 on DuckTales. A woohoo! Yeah.
Yes.
So, Jacob, this one was a lot of fun, man. It also had some really big revelations strewn in.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
The way first, the whole idea of having an amnesia subplot in general, kind of well-treaded territory with cartoons and the likes. My mind goes to Spider-Man 3 first and foremost. Having said that, I think the amnesia was a good way to sort of work in that backstory in a really creative and natural way. And so when all is said and done, Jacob, I think this is probably a top 10 episode for me.
I can definitely see where that would be for you. I think it's definitely an improvement over last week's episode for sure.
Oh yeah. And not to say the season was slipping or anything by any stretch, but no, it was I honestly think I might like it even a little bit better than the premiere, to tell you the truth.
I mean, I can definitely see why you would. I mean, it's definitely a unique episode in terms of how the show works, and that's mainly focusing on one of the villains for a change.
It not only focuses on one of the villains, but it gives us such a rich understanding of that villain to the point where, like now when we see Glomgold, he's such a big joke anymore. You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of layers and depth to him that just up until this point hasn't been covered.
What's interesting is that I mean, okay, we're gonna spoiler it actually spoilers. I'm going to go into spoiler territory here. It actually revealed that it actually combines, as many people suspected and theorized, combine the two backstories from the comics and from the original comics and to the TV show, where he's a South African duck pretending to be Scottish.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he's South African in the original comics, but due to apartheid going on at the time for the original series, changed it to Scottish. And this is a way to amalgamate the two. And the background when he was in the background in South Africa, and Scrooge is trying to teach Glomgold about the responsibility, even trying to turn on his own number one dime aspect, even though it didn't really work out as Scrooge planned.
Jacob, I gotta say that might be one of my top 3 or 4 flashbacks in the whole series.
It's definitely unique, definitely interesting. But
then I love that moment for a lot of reasons, just because we got to see, a Glomgold who was young, and we get to see the age difference between Scrooge and Glomgold in a pretty glaring way.
Because Scrooge was old even back then.
Right. But I love just how we see Glomgold as kind of this bright, optimistic young man, the shoe shiner. And
it actually draws a parallel between Scrooge is a shoe shiner too.
But yeah, right. You're right. Through one wayward, misattempt at a good deed from Scrooge, Dragon, this is very much reminds me of Mr. Incredible and Syndrome.
He created his own villain.
Yeah, exactly.
And my point.
And so I love how we get that emphasis on, first Glomgold, he's shocked, and we, the audience, Jacob, I was shocked too. I was like, oh my God, that's a big moment. How the hell did that come about? But, just the dime instantly getting back to Scrooge, it was very much playing with our expectations.
Yeah, and the fact that he's able to pilfer Scrooge's money clip actually shows that, though it might come every once in a while, Glomgold is capable of success.
And
to prove that, he didn't, and proves that reminds you that he is the world's second richest duck. So that means like anything's possible with Glomgold, it seems.
All right.
And top props to Keith Ferguson for this episode.
For sure, for sure. Let's talk more about Duke Baloney.
Oh, no. I like Duke Baloney. For a while,
Yeah, Duke Baloney was a pleasant surprise.
For a while, it actually seemed like he was going to stay that way, at least for a couple episodes. But I mean, I understand why they wanted to get Glomgold out of the way. Like, yep, Glomgold's back. But seeing him in this entirely, seeing him with amnesia, it's pretty much actually seeing like, what if that young Duke Baloney had actually had grown up to be able to and taken advice from Scrooge in a way. But, I mean,
Jacob,
like,
I feel there's a lot more story preference and a lot more meat on the story than in typical amnesia stories.
yeah, it's actually a way to like show Glomgold's past in a way, to shed some light on it. I mean, I don't know how developed he was in the comics, but this is definitely more developed than he was in the original show.
Yeah, the original show, he was pretty one note, like down to like just the curse you, Scrooge.
I mean, he was still fun, but this is definitely has more depth. This is Glomgold, and for a while, that's how this one seemed for a while.
For sure, for sure. Like for a while, this one seemed even more cartoonish than the original up until this episode.
I mean, he's even still a bit more cartoonish, but he has more depth to explain it too.
Uh-huh.
He's like, pass me the haggis. Don't tell me what to do. As far as I recall, the original Glomgold never got into arguments with tape recorders.
Talk about Fisher and Dan.
They were pretty interesting. I thought I recognized.
I thought they were pretty fun. Like probably just just one-off characters.
Because I thought they were fun for like, I thought I recognized their voices. It turns out, no, I was right. They both John DiMaggio and Greg Griffin have very distinctive voices.
Yes. I definitely recognize Don DiMaggio.
They basically sound more like a Captain Draken kind of guy, or maybe closer to Bender.
But I like how these two guys they they just take Glomgold under their wing to the point where it's just like, all right, like this guy's a hard worker. He's not afraid to get hurt. Like it doesn't matter if he doesn't remember. What matters is that he's got a heart for fishing now, and that's what we need here.
Yeah, they saw the good in him. I mean, they didn't even want to believe he was Glomgold, and even if they did, they just saw the good in him, like how he is now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made me. That's what made me believe he was actually going to stay that way for at least a bit. Or
of course, the thing that really had me was what we have in the thumbnail right now, which is the big Scrooge meeting Glomgold scene.
Oh yeah, it definitely took an unexpected turn. It's like, in most amnesia plots, that would actually kind of trigger the amnesia going away, or like reveal he's faking it. But no, it's like it actually subverted expectations. Like he's actually part on amicable terms.
Mm-hmm.
And Scrooge is like, and Scrooge actually was just left him to be happy.
One of my favorite moments of the episode was just what do you think of Scrooge throughout the episode? I thought he was used a perfect amount.
Like he mainly
minutes of screen time.
Yeah, he mainly came into the end, but they definitely used him well.
Mm. Like that's what I'm talking about, man. Like that's a good way to utilize someone. Because of course at the center of it, it's probably at the center of it, it really is a Glomgold story more than anything else. That's the that's the really interesting thing about the episode. It's very much Glomgold-centric, but then you have Louie and Webby. What do you think about Louie being the duck being the nephew to join along. Do you think that's a clue to us potentially speculating about this being Louis' season? He's in the mix once again.
Quite possibly. I mean, and we've never actually seen Louis and Webby in an extended interaction, but by themselves. The only time we ever really saw that was the Sky Pirates in the Sky.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like them by themselves, and instead of being surrounded by all kinds of weird craziness.
Right.
But yeah,
Oh,
they actually had kind of like had a good partnership going on.
they did.
And I actually like to think this kind of takes place at the same time as the previous episode.
Okay, and so remind me, the previous episode is Huey and Dewey, right?
Yes,
Okay.
where they went off to see cousin Feathery.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
mean,
think I think that would kind of line up.
the whole water. I mean, they have themes about the water. They have the storms and all that. I mean, it all lines up. And the fact that those two are gone. I mean, it's all headcanon, but I like to. It's a fun thought.
No, it's good headcanon though. I think it's I think there is evidence to back up what you're saying there, Jacob.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess if I had one complaint about the episode, it's that I kind of wanted to see more of the characters, but it's a very unique episode in that regard though, because of course it's definitely the biggest amount of screen time that we've ever given a villain outside of maybe Magicka and Shadow Wars. Where Glomgold, like I said, he really is the focal point here. We really do zero in on him. It's very much his episode. And so by that extent, there's no room to put in like a, like a launchpad subplot or something like that, or dare I say, even something with Donald, but don't get me wrong, we're getting some good Donald stuff coming up soon, Jacob. Don't you worry.
Oh yeah, I know what next week's episode is.
Oh yeah. All right. Let's see. I'm trying to think. I know there's a lot of good Glomgold stuff in here.
He was in a boat. He was a boat in my dreams.
Oh yes, we have to talk about all the boat stuff. All the boat stuff is great.
Like it was a symbol for how much I hate you, McDuck.
I don't know why, but I hate that boat. Oh,
it's kind of funny how it's one of the few shows that can actually get away with it. One of the few times that shows can actually get away with explaining their symbolism.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know what else to say regarding that.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Oh, what do you think of the new character Zan Alson?
I mean, she seems interesting. I mean, I don't know if we're going to see much more of her. I mean, she seems to still be somewhat in charge of.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of kind of like a younger, more socially aware and socially conscious, like like CEO type. Like I feel like if we were to see more of her, she'd fit right into that whole she'd be kind of like she'd still have a shady side to her. And maybe I'm just kind of looking into this a little too much. But I don't know, I think she'd fit right into she'd be more of the she'd be kind of like the more moral equivalent to Mark Beeks, you know what I mean? She'd be like that actually wants to do good.
I can actually see that.
I quite enjoyed her the brief time we saw her.
With how they set her up, I just hope she's not like a one-off character.
And you're very right. She could very well be. That's that's not out of the realm of possibility at all.
I mean, it just seems like she's still. I mean, considering how she was able to sign for both of them, I mean, it seems she still has some realm of authority for Glomgold Industries. I mean, Glomgold was gone for ages. I mean, he can't just barge back in and say, "I'm in charge now." So he might have. Well, who knows? Maybe he can.
All right, let's. Anything else we need to talk about with that backstory, or we already covered all of it?
They pretty much covered all the backstory. I mean,
Okay.
shining the parallels between Scrooge and Glomgold. We pretty much covered all that.
Okay. Okay. So I guess the only other thing to get to is the bet then.
The wager.
Mm-hmm. This is big, Jacob. I feel like this is going to have ramifications throughout the whole rest of the season potentially.
Yeah, it's like I imagine this being like I mean, they wouldn't just set this up and like to finish it off in just a few episodes.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Glomgold does explicitly say by the end of the year.
Right, right.
So that leads me to believe that it's
Yeah,
going to.
theory about that though that we'll get into with some of the episode titles we have.
Maybe, and that would probably hint at like more adventure episodes too.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's an interesting wager, and it's like one that's been like probably done several times throughout both of these characters' history, in both like all kinds of animation and comics, where like they have a wager who's the richest duck at the end of the day, or the end of the year, or end of the week, depending on the situation. And whoever wins, but this time like does whatever. But this time it's like winner gets the loser's company.
Yeah, so high stakes there, high stakes, and that's one of the things I really respect about the show is really they're not afraid to put season long story arcs into motion and really run with them and really have the high stakes involved there.
And showing how like this episode actually proved Glomgold to be competent this could actually be tough for Scrooge to maintain.
How it goes.
And I love the look on Scrooge's face when he realized when he saw the missing money clip. It's like that was you.
Yeah, that was a great moment. All the stuff with the money clip and all the South Africa stuff. Some of the some of my favorite scenes in the series, if I'm being honest.
I mean, the second season is definitely proving full of surprises, and it's only 3 episodes in.
Yeah, and I'm loving when we get into different elements of David Tennant as Scrooge. You know what I mean? I love when we get to explore kind of like the more rough around the edges qualities of this character. It's something that I really admired about the pilot episode, honestly.
And of course, like episodes like The Last Crash of the Sun Chaser, of course. But like the mountain, of course, Mount Everest, another favorite of ours.
I am.
I mean, he deserves some major recognition for this show.
For sure, for sure.
I mean, of course, he already has major recognition for Doctor Who, but still.
Okay, so Jacob, the next few episodes are all going to be really interesting. Of course, episode 4 is definitely my most hyped about episode, and I know a couple people that watch our show, it's their most hyped about episode 2. It's a town where everyone was nice.
The Three Caballeros.
Jacob, I am hyped about this, man.
Oh yeah, I actually saw a bit of it. I actually saw a bit of the trailer for this episode.
Oh, that's the thing. I want to go in completely blind.
I mean, they're only like 30 seconds, so they don't give away too much.
Uh-huh.
But still, like, I don't know if they like kept their voices or they gave different ones, but they definitely nailed the characters of Jose and Panchito. And like so it actually showed like Donald happily interacting with them. I think, and I don't really remember too many details, and I'm not going to tell you too much more, but that's about it.
And just to speculate on that, the town where everyone was nice is a Brazilian town. And Jacob, I really hope that we get some Three Caballeros like psychedelic action here.
So it's actually going to take place in like Jose's town.
Okay, okay.
I mean, isn't that where? Isn't that where? Isn't he from Brazil?
Yeah, Jose is from Brazil. You're right. Yeah.
Like so, so it's like actually get to see something about something for Jose.
We'll see. We'll see. All right. Yeah, looking forward to that one for sure. Okay. Episode 5 is Storkules and Duckburg. hires Hercules for his monster extermination business. Another Louis-centric episode, Jacob.
I like Storkules, though.
I'm looking forward to that one, definitely.
Friend Donald.
Let's see. The last one that we have titles for is episode 6, which is Last Christmas.
Does that have a
now, Jacob, that's where I'm speculating that the Glomgold and Scrooge bet comes to an end.
That would be interesting.
A 3-episode arc.
Ooh.
That's what I'm calling. That's what I'm calling right now.
It'd be interesting if it only just lasts a few episodes, but that would still be an interesting arc.
Well, you know what? If it only lasted a few episodes, it'd kind of be in the spirit of the original show with those 5-episode arcs.
And it could still have major ramifications for the rest of the season.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. For sure.
I mean, what if Scrooge loses?
Well, that's what I'm saying, man. It's like the stakes are considerably high now.
I mean, Glomgold will probably cheat.
Uh-huh.
So,
all right, so I guess that is it for this week, though. Any final thoughts, Jacob?
I was like, this is on retrospect, this is definitely a top tier episode. Like, this episode is definitely in top form.
Shall we say good form?
Yes, good form.
Little Scrooge joke for you. I really like this episode a lot. I would definitely say it's among my top 10 episodes of the show thus far, including season 1. I just thought, I think the amnesia storyline is kind of a crutch. But you know what? If it's a crutch that gives us that really good flashback, then I'm all for it. And it's also a crutch that really led us into kind of like a mirror image of what Glomgold would be like as Duke Baloney. And I think that we wouldn't have really gotten that sort of insight had it not been for the amnesia.
I think these kind of cliches, like, if you like, they exist for a reason. It's because they can be used to tell good stories, and they definitely utilized that well for this one. It could have been just easily been like, Glomgold has amnesia, a bunch of cheap gags, but no, they actually used it to tell a story.
For sure, Jacob. For sure. Well said. Well said. All right, folks, that'll do it for next week. Tune in, that'll do it for this week. I'm sorry. Tune in next week while we talk about the town that always smiled. And until then, woohoo!
Woohoo!
Curse you up!